From the recent 42nd annual Cooper River Bridge Run to hotels to tourism, I sit down one-on-one with City of Charleston Councilman, CARTA Chairman, and interim Cooper River Bridge Run Chairman Mike Seekings for a special edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And be sure to download the free Quintin's Close-Ups app in your Apple or Google Play stores. And listen to this interview next week on iHeartRadio. Councilman Mike Seekings, it's so good to see you.
After a long and adventurous week, it's good to see you too. Thank you.
You know, the last time I saw you was at the starting line of the Cooper River Bridge Run.
It was really an amazing community event this year, and it was an honor to be part of it. It was, standing up there on that scaffolding as everyone started. It was just a huge sigh of relief that we put together for Julian and everything that he's worked for his whole life, a run that he could be proud of, and a community really rallied around. So fun day, lots of work, but there's never a better day in Charleston than the Cooper River Bridge Run Day, and this year was no exception.
And how much more work do you have to do for 2020?
So, as soon as that last finisher comes across the finish line, last Saturday, April 6th, we go to work on next year's race, and we're working on it. We're working on it today. We'll continue to work on it, make sure that it's the best runner experience and community experience it can be. We want it to be consistent with what Charleston is all about, which is a great, livable city that is into health and wellness and well-being and all that, so the Bridge Run needs and wants to be part of that.
Obviously, a lot of the people who participated in the Bridge Run stayed in hotels. And I know that Charleston Mayor John Tecklenburg's latest plan, according to the Post and Courier, is to slow hotel growth in the peninsula by focusing on empowering a board that make key approvals for hotel projects. Tell me, what are those key approvals that you want before you vote for this?
Well, you've read about it the same way. If you've heard about it the same way I have, and I think all our fellow council members have, reading about it in the paper. I don't know what that plan looks like, what the mayor has up his sleeve, but this is something we've been talking about for a long time. One of the things that we've done in 2013 and 2016 is we shrunk significantly the hotel overlay zone. We took out some 700 properties, maybe 70 properties, about 3,000 hotel rooms. We've added the test for the accommodations overlay, the special exception test. We've made it more stringent. We've empowered the BZA. I want to see it. I want to look at it. But really, to me, it's not only about hotels. It's about vertical development across the board. And we are out of balance. And we're not out of balance in any one particular area, but if you look around this peninsula right now, and I were to ask you, Quintin, Washington, sitting here on Friday afternoon, how many hotel rooms were under construction? And I know I'm not interviewing you, so I'm not going to ask you to answer it, but you would tell me, because of all the press and all the talk that's been about this, thousands, right? Well, as we sit here right now, there are 48 hotel rooms under construction on the peninsula. Now, to be sure, there's other projects on the books, but 48. Now, let's look at the other side of the coin. 3,500 market rate apartment units. 3,500. That's out of balance. Those units are going to create 4,500 car trips a day in a 2 square mile area when they're fully absorbed into the community. Those 48 hotel rooms, 18. So I want to look at the whole thing, and I think we're way over focused. And when I say we, it's not necessarily council right now. Council's looking at it sort of holistically. I think that there's just way too much of an emphasis on one segment of development and not looking at it across the board. And that to me is a big issue.
And you talked a little bit about it just a second ago, but tell me, how does hotels tie in with congestion and mobility?
So, sort of what we were just talking about, in 2016, the mayor commissioned through our planning department a hotel study. One of the things it predicted, by the way, was between 2016 and 2019, there would be 1,400 new hotel rooms built on the peninsula. Well, the number actually turned out to be 600. And of those 600, 2 of those projects is the Dewberry and the Bennett. Right. So that's about 2/3 of those. And then also that study showed us and predicted for us sort of what traffic patterns would be as a result of what type of development. Hotel, retail, office, apartment, and apartments create much more. And one of the examples I would use for you is this. On the day of the eclipse a couple of years ago, which was one of the biggest tourist days in the city and the biggest in South Carolina history, my office on Broad Street, at noon, an hour before the eclipse, I walked outside and I could have had a picnic on Broad Street. There were people everywhere, but there were no cars. And the reason why they weren't is because school was closed, a lot of people stayed home. Right. We have to really balance and think about what we're after. If you ask people what the problem with tourism is, they'll tell you congestion. That's not the problem. We need to manage tourism. We need to make sure that livability is number one, but congestion is not the issue with tourism. We create that. And that to me is something we really need to talk about, and we haven't yet. It's just become this conversation about a single thing without talking about holistic views of development, of livability, and to me, that's where the conversation needs to go.
Where should the conversation go next about obviously people sitting on the sidewalks, about walking tours in Charleston, you mind?
Well, we have to think about all of those things. And again, it's that what I call that 72-72 balance. We are the hottest place in the universe for 72 hours, the average stay. It's getting longer, but still 72 hours. Are we as good for people who are here for 72 years and beyond, who invest everything, their lives, their livelihoods, make Charleston their home? That's a big question. And to me, we have to think about all of the things on a daily basis that we encounter as residents and citizens of the city, be it walking tours, tourists, overcrowding. We have 7.5 million tourists a year. The issue on King Street with people on the sidewalks. We have to do all of that in a way that's compassionate, reasonable, and fits into a livable city. And that's the ultimate objective, is a livable city. And you know, I live downtown. I love living downtown. I'm not moving, but I certainly want to make sure that we keep an eye on the ball and that the decisions we make are good both short and long term for residents. That's the number one most important thing.
What else are you keeping your eyes on from the city council standpoint?
So development, one of them, of course, transportation and mobility, and the number one is water, flooding, management of all of that. And that's a across the board, all over the city issue. It doesn't matter where you live in the city, in any corner of the city, there are issues currently with how we manage water and what we're thinking about in the future in terms of infrastructure to combat, among other things, floods, storms, and the like. So to me, we have as a community have to come together. Charleston needs to take the lead as a city, get with the county, get with the state, and have a long-term holistic plan. Water doesn't know where it is. It doesn't know if it's in North Charleston, downtown, in the county, not in the county. We've got to really band together and work together, and Charleston, the city of Charleston, needs to lead that charge, and all of us together need to do that.
City of Charleston Councilman Mike Seekings, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate this.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yeah, anytime.